quick video, Dr. West and I, just to normally talk about what we do with advising. You're going to need to be self-sufficient in your advising plan, so you can use this to help you get through it. Remember, this advising period of time is registering for classes in both summer and fall. So as you get ready, the first thing you need to have is make sure you know what degree plan you're following, have a list of classes completed. So of course you can use your degree works to show what you've taken and what you still have yet to take. So once you have that available, we'll give you some suggestions that you can follow to put those into eProwl. Once you get those into eProwl, it'll give you a series of options so that you can select from a few of those from your shopping cart. We're going to do this for fall and for summer. So for summer, first of all, consider online offerings. We have a number here in the department. There are also GE classes, but you can take summer classes at other institutions besides Pacific. Sometimes that's a more financially easier to do. So consider junior colleges and community colleges in your area. Ones that are popular to take in the summer are some of the lab classes. So consider biology, chemistry, physics, or other GE class. It's rare that you can find a health or exercise science class that'll match articulations. That's why we're suggesting those. If you have not used the roving online articulation requirements, use Roar and get comfortable with Roar. All you do is you can put this in the search box on Pacific's website. It'll take you to Roar, and then you can look up whatever institution you're taking those, and they'll give you the correct articulations the majority of the time. Sometimes we have some difficulty with anatomy and physiology because the articulations are specifically for the pharmacy and dental students. So you can run those by us if you have any questions. For fall, most of you already know this. For fall, this is a nice way of laying out your classes. Consider taking an HES class, one natural science lab class, just in terms of scheduling your time, a GE if you still need those, and then to complete the rest of your schedule, make sure you have at least 15 or 16 units. Consider another GE class if needed, another HES class if needed, or some other class like statistics or other prerequisite for grad school.
Yeah, I was just going to add here that you're not going to be able to get more than 2 HES courses either, so you'll have to probably pick one HES core class or a HES elective, which will give you, you have your 4 units for this. Biochem physics is either going to be 4 to 5 units, a GE is going to be 4 units, and then another class, either GE math requirement, and that gives you your 16 to 17 units here. So this will be what most of your schedules will look like.
Good point. Many of you know this, but if you're a first-year student, whether a freshman or this semester or a transfer student, make sure you get 129 and 180 completed early on. If you're not in that now, consider those. Also, the normal starting point is to start with Bio 51, which is offered, Bio 51 or 61. 61 is offered in the fall, 51 is offered in the summer. If you can get into Chem 25, again, like Dr. West mentioned, that's an or. Check your what classes that you've tested into. If you haven't taken a Chem placement test, you may get tested into 23, and that'll influence what you register for. If you are going into the human performance track, Bio 11 is a very desirable class to begin your time. For those of you needing a statistics class for grad programs, Math 35 or 37 is a good option, but then also if you're trying to fulfill the prerequisite for physics, you'll need to take pre-calculus. So check your articulations on your degree works to find out if you need to take any of those.
And then I'll just add about placement tests. If you haven't done your Chem placement test, it's unlikely that you're going to be able to take that Chem placement test until late summer, maybe early fall. So if you haven't done it, you're probably going to need to go ahead and get into Chem 23 for now. Same thing with math. If you're wanting to retake your math placement test, you're not going to be able to do it at this point. So you're going to just have to rely on your existing placement tests for the time being. There aren't going to be any retakes at the moment.
If you're taking classes elsewhere, First of all, you can take classes elsewhere. They do fulfill your degree requirements. They do fulfill prerequisites for graduate school. Make sure you use ROAR to make sure that you're getting the correct class that you want to. No matter what classes you take, they can always count towards the degree and grad school prereqs. The units may not count. So the 70 unit rule, of course, says once you've accumulated a total of 70 units, your last 54, or for some of you later, the last 50, have to be taken at Pacific. That doesn't mean you can't take classes elsewhere. That just means after you have those 70, the units may not count towards the graduation. For this summer, if you're planning to take classes elsewhere, the transfer course articulation request, or a TCAR form, is typically to be filled out to make sure that that comports with what the ROAR agrees with in terms of articulation requirement. Those are available online. They're available at the registrar's office to fill out. Typically, if it matches the ROAR articulation, you're going to be okay.
I'll just reiterate it, saying it a different way. So to clarify, once you've reached this 70 unit mark, you can still take courses at other institutions. The courses can be transferred in and count toward your course requirement. The units no longer come in and count toward your unit requirement. So you have to keep that in mind. Dr. Van Ness said that, I just wanted to reiterate that.
It's often confused, so
yes,
it's important.
It is confusing.
A word about prerequisites. This is often a challenge when you try to register for class. If you have not fulfilled the prerequisite, you will not be able to register for it. So these are the courses you have to fulfill before you can take other classes. So in our department, 129 is the prerequisite for 135, 147, 177, and 182. Also, for functional anatomy, you do have to take Bio 61 in addition to 129. Functional anatomy is a prerequisite for our ClinEval 1 and 2, so make sure you've taken that before. In some cases, Chris Pond has allowed students to take those concurrently, but just do yourself a favor and get into 133 if you can. Dr. West mentioned the chem placement tests, so keep those in mind. And then for physio, by the way, the numbers, I have the old number here, the new number is 180, thank you. The prerequisite, that's physiology, the prerequisite for that is the first 2 semesters of general biology and Chem 25. So sometimes people intend to take their bio series all in a row, but you need to remember that Chem 25 is the prerequisite for physio. Same thing with anatomy, you have to have both Bio 51 and 61 before you take anatomy, which the new number is 170. Again, about prerequisites, that's just a little bit redundant. These are suggestions. Psych 17 is abnormal and clinical psych. Psych 31 is intro to psych. Those both fulfill that category GE 1A. Those are often desirable for physical therapy, occupational therapy, and PA. So that's a good way to fulfill your 1A. I mentioned the stats before. 35 and 37 fulfill that. So that the 37 has a discussion section that 35 doesn't. On the next slide, this is to consider HES electives for the fall. So here's our elective classes. Just like Dr. West mentioned earlier, you could plan on maybe getting into one of these if you're not taking a core class. Law, prevention and acute care, health sciences and pharmacology, immediate emergency care, and then the well coaching class. All of these are 4 unit. The well coaching classes is only 2 units. So each of those are viable options. These are offered at the same time just to limit those to 1. Do you have something on that?
No.
The BA program in human performance goes live in the fall. I emailed you a copy of this. It has some of the same core courses as the other BA and BS program. The science requirement is for Bio 11 and Chem 23, as well as the same BA requirements for the health and exercise science.
And then remember, if any of you are switching from the BS in HES to this BA in human performance, remember you have to add 2 semesters of a language back into your program. All BA programs require the 2 semester language requirement.
So get registered. Registration will be open next week for both summer and fall. The course catalogs up there, they're updated in ePROL. Dr. West, myself, Chicolella, and Jensen have all released your advisor holds. I should say all of the health exercise science are released. But please, that's just your advisor hold. Make sure you don't have a hold either from the health center or financial aid or anything like that, so that you're able to register on the day when you should, so have any difficulties there. Application for graduation. So if you're a third year student, if you're planning to graduate next year, April 17th is the deadline for application to graduation. It's all online, it's on the registration website. You can just go to pacific.edu and put application for graduation, and that will come up.
And I'll add on this slide, since we're talking about third year students, about PAX 3. So there's some information out there that PAX 3 is no longer going to be required. That's not true for graduating seniors through graduation of spring 2021. So if you are a junior right now, you need to plan on taking PAX 3 in the fall or the spring of next year.
If you're struggling in any classes, please remember that a week from Friday, March 26th, is the last day to withdraw from a course. So, if you're heading towards, C- or lower, you could consider withdrawing. Please just note, you need to stay full-time students unless it's your last semester. So those are some other considerations. Your advisors are available on email. Miguel's always here to help. You're going to have to be a lot more self-sufficient this semester just because there's not the support like we would normally have.
So in addition to that, for those of you that obviously now our classes are going fully online, if you're not sure what your grade is right now in one of your courses, reach out to your instructor and find out if you went into this spring break with a D or an F, and those grades are going to be administered throughout the remainder of the semester. Reach out to your professor and find out where you stand in those classes, because that's a hard deadline, March 26th.
Yeah, regardless of the school shutdown and moving to online.
Yeah.
So yes, that is a hard deadline. All right, good luck you all. Hopefully you get registered and everything for summer and fall, and stay healthy as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Good job, Miguel.